So now let's create our first model. So I'm gonna head on over to the models here inside this blog. Here we have a file called models. So as you can see, this file now is empty. So before I create a model, what are models? Models are classes that represent uh, tables. So for example, if you want to have a table called articles to store articles in your database, then you need to create a model called article. And that model is kind of going to talk to the database and get articles from that database, articles that or a model that is related to that specific class. So let's create our first model here, and you are going to understand everything shortly. So to create a model, we need to create a class, and the name of the class must be the name of the model. For example, if we want to create a model called article, I'm going to say here article, and the convention for naming models is that the first letter is capitalized. And here we need to pass the models dot model. This is very, very important. You need to say models dot model. And then inside that model class, we need to specify the columns that we want for this article class. So the columns that we want are the ID, of course. For each single article, it must have an ID. There must be an ID for each single article. And here we need to say ID and then equals to, and it's going to be equal to the type of that, the type that we want to give to this ID. So the type is going to be, here we need first to say models, and then we need to specify the type. So the type is going to be auto field, and the auto field is going to give a number to each single article, and that number is going to be assigned automatically. We aren't going to assign that number. We aren't going to give a number to each single article. That number is going to be assigned automatically, and it's going to be unique. And to make that number unique, we need to say here primary key, and that primary key is going to be true, meaning that we want this field to be the primary key. The second thing that we want to give to this article is the title. So of course each single article must have a title. I'm going to say models dot car field. So what is car field? Car field is just for strings. So because we want the title to be a string, it must be car field. And the maximum characters, let's say for the article, the maximum characters are 200. So the maximum characters for the title is going to be 200 characters. Finally, we want the content or the text or the content. Let's say content. So the content is going to be the article itself. The article is say. So I'm gonna say here models, and then it's going to also be car field, and it's going to be the maximum. Let's say the maximum is 1000 characters. You can give it whatever number of characters you want. So now we are good to go. Now we have this article model. The next step is that we need to tell Django, hey Django, we have this article model, and we want to create a table for it. So how can we translate that into code? To translate that, we need to use the terminal. So I'm going to open up the terminal, and then in the terminal you need to type the following. You need to say Python 3 or Python, and then manage.py, and then make migrations, and then the name of the app. So what is the name of the app? The name of the app is blog. So this is the command that we need. If this command doesn't work for you, you need to say Python without 3. If that doesn't work for you, you need to say Python without 3. But I'm going to be using 3. Now, after you have typed this command, just hit enter. And as you can see, what this is going to do is that this is going to create a model called article, and it's going to create a table for it. The next step is that we need to say Python 3, and then manage.py, and then migrate. And this is going to create the table, and this is going to insert the columns to that table, to the articles table. Again, this is the command is python manage.py migrate. This is gonna migrate or create, in other words, create the articles table. Let me now hit enter. And as you can see, what happened is that Django migrated all of the fields we have in all of the models. Of course, here there are models that created by default. They have also been migrated. But the model that we created is this one, is the article. So don't get confused when you see all of these lines. Don't worry about this. This is just some kind of just housekeeping stuff. Just Django has to do this in order for the application to work successfully. Now we have the model ready for us to be used.